What would you do if you were trapped deep in the forest, hunted by a cannibal, while being chained to dangerous criminals who might kill you before the monster even gets the chance? This story is not just about survival. It's about greed, betrayal, and the terrifying realization that sometimes humans are just as dangerous as monsters. Welcome back to Movie Recaps Hub Podcast, where we break down your favorite movies in a way that feels like you're right inside the story. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the brutal and chaotic world of Wrong Turn 3. So, the movie kicks off in a quiet but eerie way. We see four young people floating down a secluded river, deep in the wilderness. Everything feels peaceful at first. They reach the shore, and two of the guys head off to gather firewood, leaving Alex and Sophie behind to relax in the sun. Soon after, Sophie's boyfriend returns. He's clearly in the mood for something more private. So Alex, being respectful, decides to step away and give them some space. But out of nowhere, everything changes. An arrow suddenly shoots through Sophie's body. At the same time, her boyfriend's hand is pierced as well. Just like that, the calm atmosphere is gone. They turn back in shock, and that's when they see him. A deformed cannibal standing there, terrified. Sophie's boyfriend panics and runs. But the cannibal doesn't hesitate. Another arrow flies straight into Sophie's eye. And in one of the most disturbing moments, the cannibal walks up and eats her eyeball, while Alex watches, frozen in horror. Meanwhile, the other guy returns with firewood. He sees the carnage, but before he can react, the cannibal chases him down and brutally impales him with an iron rod. The boyfriend, still running in panic, accidentally triggers a trap and gets sliced into 3 pieces. Just like that, everyone is dead. Everyone except Alex. Now, we cut to a completely different setting. A prison in West Virginia. Inside, 2 inmates are planning something big. One of them, Chavez, is basically the top dog. He finds out he's about to be transferred to another facility the following week, and he's not letting that happen. So he bribes another inmate, Floyd, to set up an ambush during the transport. Chavez pays him enough money to make sure the plan goes perfectly. Now, the responsibility of transporting these prisoners falls on Nate, our main protagonist. But here's where things get interesting. The warden receives a tip from an undercover informant that the prison transport might be attacked. So to avoid any complications, he decides to move the transfer up to that very evening. Not only that, but he also changes the route. And just to be safe, he places the undercover informant among the prisoners, right next to Chavez. The idea is simple. If anything goes wrong, this informant is the last line of defense. So now, the prisoners are chained together, including Chavez, Floyd, the informant Crawford, Brandon, and another inmate. At the same time, we see Deputy Lane at a local police station. She gets a report about 4 missing young people who never returned from a kayaking trip. She wants to investigate, but the sheriff, who knows the area well, decides to go check the river himself. Back at the prison, Nate prepares 5 prisoners for transport. Alongside him is Officer Walter. As they begin the journey, Chavez starts getting nervous. The sudden change in schedule could ruin his escape plan, but Floyd reassures him, everything is still in place. During the ride, Nate and Walter talk about life. Nate mentions he's studying law and hopes to become a lawyer after retiring from the prison. Walter reflects on money and how people often fail to appreciate what they already have. Eventually, they reach a police station in town. Lane is already there, ready to temporarily hold the prisoners. Here, Nate reunites with the sheriff. They actually knew each other from childhood, and even the police dog remembers Nate from back in the day. After catching up, Nate and the sheriff discuss the transport route. Concerned about a possible ambush, Nate decides to take a remote mountain road instead. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, we see something unsettling. 3 Toes, a small mutant cannibal, is setting up a trap, but he struggles and ends up getting pinned under it. Then another cannibal appears, 3 Finger, and helps him. From their interaction, it's implied that 3 Toes might actually be the offspring of the cannibal from the previous film. Back at the station, after a short stop, the group continues their journey. Before leaving, the sheriff gives Nate a phone and tells him to call once he safely passes through the mountain. Not long into the drive, Walter notices a car following them. At first, they think it might be the ambush. Nate looks at the informant's reaction and realizes something important. This car isn't part of the plan. Suddenly, the car speeds up, rams into the prison van, then pulls ahead and drops a spike strip. The tires blow out, the van crashes through a barrier and comes to a stop. As Nate steps out to assess the situation, Chavez takes advantage of the chaos and disarms him, grabbing his gun. Another guard tries to intervene, pointing his weapon at Chavez, but before anything happens, a knife comes flying out of nowhere, straight into the guard's neck. Then, arrows start raining down, and eerie laughter echoes through the woods. This isn't Floyd's ambush. This is the Cannibal. Now everything changes. Their priority is no longer escape. It's survival. Chavez demands Nate retrieve the keys from the van. Nate tries, but before he can get them, the van explodes. Walter is injured. Nate is left with nothing. Now armed with guns, Floyd suggests killing Nate and Walter to make things easier, but Chavez refuses. He overheard Nate earlier talking about the area. Nate knows the terrain. They need him. Nate suggests heading to a lookout tower where they might find a working radio. So the group moves through the forest. Suddenly they hear movement. Out of nowhere, Alex attacks Nate in a panic. After calming down, she explains everything. She's been stranded in the forest for days, surviving after escaping the cannibal who killed her friends. At first, the prisoners don't believe her, but something about her tone, her fear, makes them reconsider. When Chavez hears about her inflatable raft, he sees an opportunity. He convinces Alex to guide them to the river, promising her a reward. As they continue, tensions rise. Some prisoners harass Alex. Crawford even jokes about stealing cars for her. Then they come across something strange. An abandoned armor truck covered in blood, but no bodies. Nate investigates and notices something odd. The windows were broken from the outside. Whoever was inside was dragged out. He finds keys and a handgun, secretly keeping the gun. When they open the rear compartment, they find stacks of cash. A lot of it. Immediately, Floyd wants it all. But the informant insists they split it equally. This leads to a fight. During the chaos, Nate secretly passes the handgun to Walter, knowing no one would suspect him since he's injured. To stop the fighting, Chavez fires a shot. He orders everyone to take 2 bundles of cash each. Even Walter, badly injured, is forced to carry money. But then something unexpected happens. Walter turns around, laughs, and says money from the dead is useless. And then he shoots. This enrages Chavez, who immediately shoots Walter in retaliation. The group moves on. Soon, they fall into another trap. But Nate manages to save Alex just in time. Then suddenly, they're attacked again. 3 toes appears. Despite being small, he knocks Floyd to the ground. Chavez grabs a gun and shoots him. Alex explains that this might not be the main cannibal, but its offspring. Still, Chavez doesn't care. He beheads 3 toes and places the head on a trap as a warning. A decision that will have consequences. Eventually, they reach the river and find the inflatable raft. But there's a problem. It only fits 2 people. As they argue about who gets to use it, Nate secretly punctures the raft. He knows Chavez would use it to escape alone with the money. Now they're all stuck together. This infuriates Chavez, and he takes his anger out on Nate, beating him. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, 3 Finger discovers his child's severed head and lets out a terrifying, rage-filled scream. The group hears it. Chavez assumes it's fear, but Alex knows better. It's fury. As they continue walking, they find keys hanging from a tree. Chavez reaches for them, but it's a trap. The undercover agent tries to act quickly, pulling the chain and helping Nate subdue Chavez. But the trap triggers and brutally slices off the agent's face. Ironically, his action saves Chavez. Now unable to carry the body, Chavez cuts off the agent's legs and takes them along. Meanwhile, back in town, the sheriff and Lane realize something is wrong. Nate never called, so the sheriff heads into the forest. Back with the group, they find a camp with tools they can use to unlock their restraints. After resting briefly, they continue, each carrying money. Brandon opens up to Nate, revealing he's not truly a bad person. He ended up in prison because of a tragic accident. He promises Nate that when the time comes, he'll help deal with Chavez. Nate tells him to focus on surviving first. Meanwhile, 3 Finger sets another trap using barbed wire. Soon, The group finds the same vehicle that crashed them earlier. Nate recognizes it and warns them, but Chavez doesn't care. He forces Crawford to approach it. As Crawford gets close, the car suddenly starts. Barbed wire tightens around him, and the cannibal drives off, dragging him behind. The group panics and moves toward the lookout tower. Tensions explode again. Floyd attacks Chavez from behind. While they fight, Nate escapes with Alex. Brandon stays behind, watching the fight. Floyd loses badly. Chavez leaves him barely alive and continues with Brandon. Brandon realizes they won't survive alone and offers to help Chavez in exchange for his life. He even asks for a gun. Meanwhile, the sheriff arrives at the crash site and calls for backup. Chavez and Brandon track Nate and force him to lead them to the lookout tower. But when they arrive, it's destroyed, burned down. Chavez thinks Nate lied and prepares to kill him. But suddenly, the sheriff's dog bites Chavez. The sheriff appears armed. Alex tries to explain about the cannibal. But before she can finish, a metal rod drops from above, impaling the sheriff. Chavez grabs a gun and aims at Nate again. Elsewhere, Floyd, still alive, finds the hidden money and takes it. When Chavez realizes it's gone, he chases Floyd. Floyd throws the money into the river. Just as Chavez is about to shoot him, the cannibal throws a Molotov cocktail. Floyd burns, and so does the money. Now, with no other option, the group heads back toward the police station. But the cannibal sets another trap. This time, Alex is forced to approach a car. The cannibal appears again, throwing another Molotov and blocking their path. He grabs Alex and drags her away. Brandon finally turns on Chavez and attacks him. Nate tells Brandon to go to town and get help. While Nate goes after Alex, lost in the forest. Nate has no idea where to go, until the police dog appears. Using Alex's clothing, he tracks her scent. Meanwhile, Alex wakes up in the cannibal's lair, and sees Lane there. Captured, Brandon, trying to escape, is ambushed by Chavez and knocked out. Chavez prepares for a final fight. He shoots the cannibal once, but it's not enough. They fight hand to hand. At first, Chavez has the upper hand, but the cannibal's strength and endurance overwhelm him. In a brutal finish, the cannibal splits Chavez's skull and eats his brain. Nate reaches the cabin and rescues Alex, but the cannibal attacks again. They fight. Alex tries to help, but the cannibal barely reacts. Just as Nate is about to die, the police dog jumps in and bites the cannibal. The cannibal kills the dog with an axe. In that moment, Alex grabs a wooden stake and impales the cannibal from behind. They escape using the cannibal's truck. But it's not over. The cannibal returns, hooks onto the truck with a chain, and climbs aboard. In panic, Nate crashes the truck. The cannibal gets up again and attacks. Nate dodges, grabs a hook, and finally delivers a fatal headshot. The cannibal is dead. For good. Brandon arrives shortly after. After everything they've been through, Nate and Alex decide to let him go free. As dawn breaks, police arrive and find them. Later, Nate returns to the armor truck, and finds some money still inside. Instead of reporting it, he keeps it. And just like that, the story ends. And that was Wrong Turn 3. A brutal mix of survival, betrayal, and pure chaos in the wilderness. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Movie Recaps Hub podcast for more intense movie breakdowns just like this. See you in the next one.